YAKAP and KONSULTA. Comprehensive Legal, Regulatory, and Audit Question and Answer Review. This deck contains 155 questions, each with a suggested answer and a verbatim citation. Important notice: this material presents suggested answers only. It is a study and discussion aid, not a legal opinion or an official interpretation. For the accuracy of any answer, please consult PhilHealth, the Department of Health, your assigned co-auditor, or any other appropriate authorized office. This notice applies to every slide in this presentation. Table of Contents. Statutory and Constitutional Foundation. Question number 1. Under RA 11223, what specific provision establishes that a Filipino's right to choose a primary care provider must be honored, and what YAKAP circular directly operationalizes it? Question number 2. A municipal accountant proposes crediting all PhilHealth capitation payments received by the RU to the LGU's general fund, reasoning that PhilHealth technically pays the LGU. Is this correct? Question number 3. What is the statutory basis for DOH's authority to license primary care facilities, and by what deadline must all primary care providers be DOH PRC certified? Question number 4. What penalty attaches to a health care provider found to have committed a fraudulent act in connection with individual-based health services, administratively and criminally? Question number 5. Does financial, managerial integration into a province-wide, city-wide health system, a precondition for SHF creation, happen automatically upon RA 11223's effectivity? What is the actual mechanism and timeline? Question number 6. A Sangguniang member argues RA 11223 has no legal basis for YAKAP because the word never appears in the statute. Evaluate this claim using the correct hierarchy of issuances. Question number 7. What is PhilHealth's own statutory administrative cost ceiling, and why is this figure relevant context when reviewing YAKAP capitation adequacy? Question number 8. State the exact interpretation rule auditors must apply when a UHC Act provision is ambiguous, and its precise textual source. Question number 9. What are RA 11223's enumerated funding sources for implementing the Act, and which two sources must be transferred to PhilHealth quarterly subject to the usual budgeting, accounting and auditing rules? Question number 10. Under RA 11223's transitory provisions, what is PhilHealth's authority to outsource certain functions, and what procurement law now governs any such outsourcing? Table of Contents. Special Health Fund, Allocation, Utilization and Audit. Page 1 of 4. Question number 11. List the 6 broad categories of allowable SHF expenses, citing the exact JMC section. Question number 12. Procurement scenario. The MSU proposes buying office furniture and air conditioning units for the Provincial Health Office's administrative wing, a non-clinical area, using SHF funds. Allowed. Question number 13. Procurement scenario. ANRU wants to buy an ambulance using SHF funds. Under what exact provision is this allowed, and what condition attaches? Question number 14. What law governs any procurement chargeable against the SHF, and what circular, resolution issued its current implementing rules and regulations? Question number 15. The Health Board wants to hire 2 additional nurses using SHF funds and pay them above the LGU's existing implemented salary schedule to attract better candidates. Permissible? Question number 16. Distinguish, with exact citations, what is SHF chargeable versus what must be charged to the LGU's mandatory counterpart funding. Question number 17. What banking and book of accounts requirements does the JMC impose on the province, HUC, ICC, and what happens to funds transferred to component LGUS? Question number 18. What exact reporting deadlines govern SHF quarterly, annual accountability, and where must the utilization report be publicly posted? Question number 19. Who bears personal liability if SHF funds are used for a disallowed expenditure item, and under exactly which JMC section? Question number 20. A component LGU received an SHF share for a specific PPA, finds it exceeds actual need, and wants to redirect the excess to an unrelated barangay road project. Allowed. Question number 21. What must the copy of the approved P/CHB board resolution on SHF use be furnished to, and why does this matter for disbursement validity? Question number 22. Under Section 6(c)(3)(b), may SHF funds pay for gasoline of a vehicle assigned to the Provincial Health Officer for general administrative errands unrelated to health service delivery? Question number 23. May SHF funds be used to pay AKPP's accreditation and licensing fees as an operating cost? Question number 24. A provincial health board wants to send MSU personnel to an out-of-town conference on public financial management using SHF funds. Allowed, and under what condition? Question number 25. Can SHF capital investment funds pay for a new hospital building constructed on land the LGU does not yet own? Question number 26. What law governs SHF-funded incentives for barangay health workers, BHWs, and who decides the allocation mechanism? Table of Contents. Special Health Fund, Allocation, Utilization and Audit. Page 2 of 4. Question number 27. A component municipality wants its SHF share released to its general fund instead of its trust fund. Compliant. Question number 28. What is the minimum required composition of the Management Support Unit, MSU, including specific salary grades? Question number 29. May a private clinic, not government-owned, directly access SHF funds for its own operating expenses? Question number 30. What distinct legal instruments formally channel A. DOH financial grants, subsidies and B. PhilHealth income into the SHF? Question number 31. May the P/CHB transfer SHF shares to component LGUS lease on a percentage or performance basis rather than a flat peso amount? Question number 32. What criteria must the P/CHB consider, at minimum, in deciding how much SHF to retain provincially versus download to component LGUS? Question number 33. May a provincial governor unilaterally reallocate an approved SHF budget without returning to the P/CHB? Question number 34. What two certifications, authorization must be in place before an SHF disbursement may actually proceed to payment? Question number 35. List the 5 specific documents, arrangements all SHF disbursements must be consistent with, per Section 8A. Question number 36. What systems must DOH and PhilHealth maintain for real-time SHF utilization tracking, and what interim systems may substitute? Question number 37. What separate reporting obligation does the DOF Bureau of Local Government Finance, BLGF, have for SHF, and what document results? Question number 38. An LGU has not yet committed to P/CWHS integration but still receives DOH transfers and PhilHealth payments under the old, pre-SHF mechanism. Consistent with the JMC? Question number 39. How must an LGU formally express commitment to P/CWHS integration, and when does PhilHealth income actually start accruing to its SHF? Question number 40. Where a province and PhilHealth dispute the interpretation of an allowable SHF expenditure item, which agencies hold final resolution authority? Question number 41. The provincial accountant refuses to release SHF funds for a health board approved expenditure because it is not reflected in SHF budget preparation form number 1. Correct action? Question number 42. May SHF funds pay for mosquito fogging chemicals and other vector control supplies as part of a dengue prevention campaign? Table of Contents. Special Health Fund, Allocation, Utilization and Audit. Page 3 of 4. Question number 43. May SHF funds pay for printing and distributing IEC, information, education, communication, streamers for a smoking cessation campaign? Question number 44. May SHF funds pay for laboratory test kits and reagents used directly in patient diagnosis at ANRU? Question number 45. May SHF funds pay the hospital confinement costs of an indigent inpatient at a provincial hospital? Question number 46. May SHF funds purchase a laptop and peripherals for an RHUZ KONSULTA, YAKAP data encoding? Question number 47. May SHF capital investment funds pay for the renovation of an existing, dilapidated barangay health station? Question number 48. May SHF funds purchase a mobile clinic van for outreach services in underserved barangays? Question number 49. The salary of an ALREADY plantilla municipal nurse holding a regular civil service position is charged to the SHF instead of the LGU's regular personnel budget. Compliant? Question number 50. What category of expense does the JMC assign to the LGU's mandatory counterpart funding, rather than the SHF, for a health facility's routine operations, and how is it exactly phrased? Question number 51. Under what 3 allotment classes must the SHF budget preparation form present all proposed expenditures? Question number 52. May the MSU accountant's registration fee for a COA conducted seminar on government accounting be charged to the SHF? Question number 53. An MSU staff member requests a second cash advance for a new training activity while their first cash advance from a prior activity remains unliquidated. May this be granted? Question number 54. An SHF procured piece of medical equipment has become obsolete and unserviceable. What process must the LGU follow before disposing of it? Question number 55. Who is authorized to draw the check or warrant for an SHF disbursement, and what internal control restriction applies to who may be designated for this duty? Question number 56. AKPP RU wants to procure medicines using SHF funds, bypassing competitive bidding because it's urgent. Is urgency alone a valid basis to bypass procurement law? Question number 57. May the SHF pay for fuel of a provincial health office vehicle used both to ferry health commodities to RUS and to run general administrative errands on alternating days? Question number 58. What must accompany the SHF Budget Accountability Form number 2 report specifically regarding shares transferred to component LGUs and local economic enterprises, LEEs? Table of Contents. Special Health Fund, Allocation, Utilization and Audit. Page 4 of 4. Question number 59. A private KPP wants SHF funds transferred directly to it, bypassing the LGU, to cover its capitation-related operating costs. Does the JMC's disbursement framework contemplate this? Question number 60. What documentary basis must exist before a provincial, city accountant may properly certify availability of funds for a proposed SHF expenditure? Question number 61. A component LGU wants to procure a batch of medicines using its downloaded SHF share but has not prepared a Project Procurement Management Plan (PPMP) item for it. May the procurement proceed? Table of Contents. YAKAP, KONSULTA Benefit Design and Capitation. Page 1 of 2. Question number 62. What is the exact maximum per capita capitation rate under PC 2024-0013, and how is it disbursed? Question number 63. Expenditure Scenario. A government KPP head wants to use capitation funds to pay a monthly internet subscription and hire an additional encoder with no clinical function. Allowed? Question number 64. May PhilHealth dictate how AKPP splits remaining capitation between the facility and its physicians as professional fee versus facility fee? Question number 65. For a government, public KPP, what specific governance instrument must authorize the internal sharing scheme for capitation-derived performance incentives? Question number 66. For government-owned KPPs, where must capitation reimbursements be booked, and what audit prerogative does PhilHealth reserve over these books? Question number 67. AKPP conducted a beneficiary's FBE in Year 1 but had 0 medical consultations with that beneficiary in Year 2. What is required for first tranche capitation eligibility in Year 3? Question number 68. What additional accreditation requirements become mandatory starting the third calendar year, 2027, after publication, and what is the consequence of non-compliance? Question number 69. If a registered beneficiary chooses to consult at AKPP where they are not registered, who bears the cost of that consultation? Question number 70. What is the exact peso value of the first tranche, 40%, capitation share per FPE beneficiary, based on the 1,700 pesos maximum per capita rate? Question number 71. How does the second tranche, 60%, of capitation differ in its release condition from the first tranche? Question number 72. What withholding tax rate applies specifically to a private KPP's capitation payment, and does it apply to public, government KPPs? Question number 73. AKPP had 15,000 FPE beneficiaries in Year 1 and conducted at least one consultation for all of them every year thereafter. What happens to first tranche capitation eligibility in Years 2 through 4? Question number 74. In Annex 1 Scenario 2, consultation done in only some years, what happens to first tranche capitation for beneficiaries who received no consultation in a given year? Question number 75. Expenditure Scenario. AKPP wants to use capitation funds to buy a personal commute vehicle for its physician, arguing it is an operating expense to support delivery of healthcare. Allowed? Question number 76. May AKPP charge a beneficiary fees for services or commodities not included in the KONSULTA, YAKAP benefit package? Question number 77. May a private KPP set its own co-payment schedule freely, and what is the only limitation? Table of Contents. YAKAP, KONSULTA Benefit Design and Capitation. Page 2 of 2. Question number 78. What two distinct transparency obligations attached to AKPP's co-payment schedule, one to PhilHealth, one to the public? Question number 79. How does the co-payment, cost-sharing rule differ for beneficiaries registered at a government KPP compared to a private one? Question number 80. If a beneficiary is temporarily referred by their KPP to another facility due to staffing shortages, who bears the cost of that referred care, and at what cost to the beneficiary? Question number 81. What recourse does AKPP have if it disagrees with PhilHealth's computed capitation reimbursement amount? Question number 82. What specific KPP obligation is tied to its performance commitments, and how does this interact with co-payment, cost-sharing rules? Question number 83. What document must AKPP accomplish, and after what precondition, in order to actually trigger release of its first tranche capitation? Question number 84. Are telemedicine consultations delivered by a duly licensed and accredited KPP counted toward its capitation performance? Question number 85. May AKPP implement its own service delivery innovations, and can these innovations substitute for the standard KONSULTA accreditation requirements? Question number 86. What consent requirement attaches to AKPP's delivery of preventive health services based on a beneficiary's life stage, Annex D? Question number 87. How does capitation and payment recovery differ when a beneficiary's KPP ceases operation due to circumstances beyond its control, versus due to the KPP's own negligence or fault? Question number 88. At whose expense must the PhilHealth certified data submission application systems used by KPPs be kept updated? Question number 89. Does PhilHealth secure patient consent to access health data as part of registration, and what must the KPP separately submit? Table of contents. Registration, selection and empanelment. Question number 90. What four sequential steps must every beneficiary and PC clinic follow to avail of the primary care benefit under PC 2025-0017? Question number 91. A 16-year-old PhilHealth dependent walks into a YAKAP clinic alone and wants to sign her own mutual care agreement, MCA, after her FPE. May the clinic allow this? Question number 92. List all official individual PC clinic selection channels enumerated in Section 5(b)(1). Question number 93. What is the graduated sanction schedule for APC clinic's non-compliance with its service delivery commitments to empanel beneficiaries? Question number 94. What is the standard proximity radius for settings-based PC clinic selection options, and can a beneficiary opt for a clinic beyond it? Question number 95. May an already empaneled beneficiary, FPE completed, transfer PC clinics in the second quarter of the year simply because they relocated residence? Question number 96. What four functions does the PhilHealth Check Utility, PCU, perform, and why is its audit trail significant for ACOA reviewer? Question number 97. APC Clinic wants to organize a community-based empanelment drive in a GEEDAR barangay without going through its LHIO compliant. Table of contents. Accreditation of YAKAP providers. Question number 98. What is the exact accreditation fee for a primary care package provider, KPP, under the Omnibus Guidelines, and is it refundable? Question number 99. How many calendar days does a KONSULTA package provider get to comply with deficiencies noted during a pre-accreditation survey, PAS, compared to other health facility types? Question number 100. AKPP's accreditation lapsed because it missed the October to December renewal filing window. What type of accreditation application now applies, and how is this categorized? Question number 101. What additional documentary requirement applies to a private KONSULTA provider located inside a corporation or school setting? Question number 102. What is the maximum period for which provisional accreditation, PA, may be granted, inclusive of the initial PA period? Question number 103. List two grounds for temporary withdrawal of accreditation, TWA, specifically relevant to a KONSULTA, YAKAP provider's head of facility. Question number 104. Since PC 2023-0012 lists KONSULTA among covered facilities, does it fully replace PC number 2020-0021, the KONSULTA-specific accreditation circular? Question number 105. A hospital-based ambulatory surgical clinic, ASC, head who is not a healthcare professional, HC professor, wants to also manage two other ASCs. Compliant with the head of facility rule? Question number 106. A Level 1 hospital wants combined accreditation for its inpatient service plus the KONSULTA (KPP) package. What is the total accreditation fee under the Omnibus Guidelines combination table? Question number 107. An HF applies for the 3-year continuous accreditation option. How is the total fee computed, and what happens to any excess if only a 1-year accreditation is ultimately granted? Question number 108. Which categories of health facilities, packages are entirely exempt from paying any PhilHealth accreditation fee? Table of contents. DO facility licensing, primary care facilities. Question number 109. What is the validity period of a DOH license to operate, LTO, for a primary care facility? Question number 110. Compliance scenario. An RHU's own DOH LTO is valid, but its outsourced clinical laboratory partner's certification lapsed 45 days ago, still within the compliance grace period set by CHDR-LED. Is the RU currently in violation? Question number 111. What is the exact PESO sanction schedule for APCF's first through fourth offence on general LICENSING standard violations? Question number 112. How does the sanction schedule for ANCILLARY service non-compliance differ from the licensing standard schedule? Question number 113. If APCF is aggrieved by a CHD director's denial decision, what is the exact appeal window and to whom is the appeal filed? Question number 114. What exact statutory provision of RA 11223 is cited in AO 2020-47's rationale as the legal basis for DOH's authority to license primary care facilities? Question number 115. What determines the exact DOH LTO fee amount a primary care facility must pay, and to whom is it remitted upon filing? Question number 116. Is a DOH permit to construct, PTC, required, with its attendant fee, for APCF undergoing only cosmetic repainting, no renovation or expansion? Table of contents. KONSULTA right pointing arrow YAKAP digital transition. Question number 117. What is the CURRENT corrected deadline for full eConsulta system decommissioning, and what issuance corrected the originally announced date? Question number 118. What 3 original milestone dates did PA 2025-0077 set for the EMR transition, and which remain operative after the December 2026 deferral? Question number 119. What 4 specific benefits does PhilHealth cite as its rationale for pushing EMR digitalization adoption? Question number 120. What 3 components must all be present, per PA 2026-0029, before a YAKAP clinic can receive SAP1 payment for a newly impaneled beneficiary? Question number 121. If a YAKAP clinic continues using a printed, manual YES instead of the digital process, what is the stated consequence? Question number 122. A YAKAP clinic missed the April 1, 2026 EMR declaration deadline and remains on eConsulta today. What must it do under current guidance, and may it keep operating in the meantime? Question number 123. Who bears the cost of transitioning to and maintaining a PhilHealth certified EMR system, PhilHealth or the YAKAP clinic itself? Question number 124. Does PC 2024-0013 state who bears the cost of keeping PhilHealth certified data submission application systems updated? Table of contents. PhilHealth GAMOT, medicines benefit. Question number 125. A patient is prescribed amoxicillin, an oral antimicrobial, under GAMOT. What is the maximum number of days the prescription may cover, and what dispensing rule accompanies it? Question number 126. Dispensing scenario. A hypertensive patient is given a 3-month supply of amlodipine in one transaction to save them a trip. Compliant with GAMOT dispensing limits. Question number 127. A physician prescribes a GAMOT-listed drug as a standby medication for a condition the patient does not currently have, just in case. Claimable under GAMOT. Question number 128. What are the 5 rights of dispensing that GAMOT facility pharmacists must verify before dispensing any medication? Question number 129. A GAMOT facility's valid, compliant claim has been unpaid for 65 calendar days through no fault of the facility. May it stop dispensing GAMOT medicines that same day? Question number 130. Upon reactivating after a temporary deactivation, within how many hours must a GAMOT facility resume dispensing and notify PhilHealth? Question number 131. What is the standard maximum number of authorized physicians per YAKAP clinic who may be granted GAMOT app prescribing access, and how may a clinic exceed it? Question number 132. What is the total annual peso value of GAMOT coverage per beneficiary, and how many medications are on the GAMOT list? Question number 133. Through what payment scheme are GAMOT facility reimbursements dispersed, and is it the same mechanism used for KONSULTA YAKAP capitation? Question number 134. What immediate financial exposure does a GAMOT facility face if it dispenses medicines exceeding what is medically warranted? Table of contents. Procurement, financial controls and penal provisions. Question number 135. What are PD 1445's 8 fundamental principles governing all government financial transactions, and which one most directly bars diverting SHF capitation funds outside the approved AOP? Question number 136. An auditor disallows a 150,000 pesos SHF disbursement for a training seminar that was held, but whose attendance sheets and official receipts cannot be produced. Which exact PD 1445 principle supports the disallowance? Question number 137. What legal standard does COA apply to prevent irregular, unnecessary, excessive, or extravagant, IUEE, expenditures, and where is it codified? Question number 138. An accountable officer who disbursed SHF funds for an unauthorized purpose claims immunity because a superior instructed him to do so. Valid defense? Question number 139. State the exact text of PD 1445's provision on personal liability for unlawful expenditures, and explain who bears it when an SHF disbursement is disallowed. Question number 140. What 4 elements must be proven for a violation of RA 3019, Section 3(e), and how might a KONSULTA YAKAP-related SHF disbursement satisfy them? Question number 141. Under PC 2023-12's Annex E, Pro Act classification, effective June 15, 2021 onward, which classification covers a KPP charging a co-payment in violation of the co-payment cap policy? Question number 142. A private KPP argues that since PhilHealth capitation is a benefit payment, not a procurement contract, it may disregard procurement rules entirely when spending the capitation on medical supplies. True or false? Question number 143. A municipal accountant certifies fund availability for an SHF-funded ambulance purchase without verifying the unexpended appropriation balance is actually sufficient. What PD 1445 provision is violated, and what happens to the resulting contract? Question number 144. May an LGU make an advance payment to a medical supply contractor using SHF funds before the supplies are actually delivered? Question number 145. RA number 12009 allows negotiated procurement for certain health-related goods without competitive bidding. What specific category covers highly specialized life-saving medical and biotech equipment and devices, medicine, supplies, materials, tools and consumables, and what certification does it require? Question number 146. ANRU splits a 450,000 pesos medicine purchase into 3 separate 150,000 pesos transactions to stay under a lower procurement threshold. Is this permissible under RA number 12009? Question number 147. What are the exact peso thresholds under RA number 12009 for a. direct acquisition and b. small value procurement, and how many price quotations does small value procurement require at minimum? Question number 148. Under RA number 12009, once a bid exceeds the approved budget for the contract, ABC, what happens to it, and is there a floor, lower limit, on award prices? Table of contents. Beneficiary rights and member protection. Question number 149. What is the exact annual co-payment cap for a beneficiary impaneled to a private YAKAP clinic, and what happens once it is reached? Question number 150. What co-payment, if any, may a public YAKAP facility charge a beneficiary for covered primary care services? Question number 151. Can a fully impaneled beneficiary, completed FPE and signed YES, be denied continued primary care by their chosen clinic? Question number 152. A parent wants their 10-year-old dependent's mutual care agreement signed by an aunt currently serving as informal caregiver, since both parents work abroad. Compliant with PC 2025-0017. Question number 153. What complaint channel does PhilHealth designate specifically for YAKAP rights violations, distinct from its General Corporate Action Center line? Question number 154. Who determines how performance incentives derived from capitation are shared among AKPP's own staff, PhilHealth or the KPP itself? Question number 155. If a beneficiary is overcharged beyond the 900 pesos private clinic co-payment cap, what specific remedy does PA 2026-0003 confirm for the excess already paid? Important notice. This material presents suggested answers only. It is a study and discussion aid, not a legal opinion or an official interpretation. For the accuracy of any answer, please consult PhilHealth, the Department of Health, your assigned COA auditor, or any other appropriate authorized office. This notice applies to every slide in this presentation.